We might be a week on from Champions Day, but the group racing action continues in Hong Kong with the Queen Mother Memorial Cup, the feature this weekend. Here's what we've got coming up for you on this edition of HK Direct. And we're going to be reviewing Champions Day with one of the stars of the show, Zac Purton. Plus, we'll look ahead to the feature where Zac rides Exultant and the Queen Mother up against last start winner Prawn Barbar. And in a month full of highlights, we reveal the winner of April's Masterclass. That's all to come on today's show, but first of all, our special guest is Zac Purton. Zac, thanks for coming on. First of all, 2 Group 1 wins last week on one of our biggest days of the season. Must have been a big thrill for you. Yeah,
of course. These are our marquee meetings, and it's great that they've put the 3 Group 1s on the one day and decided to make a meeting like we have in December with the internationals, and fortunately had another big day. So, you know, it was nice, and hopefully I can keep building on this year on year.
Let's have a look and review the 2 races, and we'll start off then with the Champions Mile, and we'll watch it from the word go. You're drawing the inside here, Beauty Generation. He's been a great horse this season. Didn't look that quick to muster out of the gates, though.
No, he didn't. He began well, but he just couldn't muster speed. He's been racing for a long time this season. He's had a lot of starts, and maybe he's just had the edge taken off himself. He has been a little bit more laid back in his track work recently, but fortunately for me, Pingwu Spark, who come out and showed more speed than me early, seemed to spot something on the track, and he balked, lost his momentum and shifted back off the track. That allowed me to slide back underneath and take control of the race.
So if we just pause it here, you're about to come off the back section of the track. You've now got the lead. Are you happy with how things are in the run by this stage?
Yeah, I was extremely happy by the time I got to this point, up until, you know, I looked over and seen Singapore Sling was starting to press forward, and I was just hoping that he wasn't going to put too much pressure on me. But fortunately, Pingwu Spark dropped down to the fence behind me, and that allowed Singapore Sling just to slot to that one-off position without having to put any more pressure on me.
Did you go into the race thinking this is what he's done on a few occasions, go forward, and he hasn't had much of a contest for the lead? Did you think something might pressure you to make it a bit more challenging?
Well, pre-race when I was doing my form, I thought another couple of runners may go forward because it looked like there wasn't much speed in the race. I thought Pingwu Spark had more speed than me and may cross me. So I was mindful of that. I also thought Blizzard might lay up a little bit closer. The horse that Brett rode, forget his name now.
Southern Legend.
Southern Legend. He'd led 2 starts beforehand, and Singapore Sling's got a lot of speed as well. So I thought those 4 horses might try and push me a little bit, but my plan was to always try and lead.
You're about to turn for home here. How confident are you? How much horse have you got underneath you by this stage?
Well, he'd been softened up a little bit early on because he was on the back foot, and I had to make use of him to hold that spot. So I was a little bit mindful that he might be a little bit soft late, but he's not the type of horse that you want to get into a head-and-head battle with. He's the type of horse that you want to let him slide, get out in front, pinch a couple of lengths and try and make them catch him.
You had a lot to do with him last season. You rode him in every start then. Have you been surprised by what he's done? That's his 3rd Group 1. You've been on for 2 of them. Has he caught you by surprise a little bit?
He has, yeah. I didn't think he'd get to the level that he's got at now. I did say to John Moore last season I thought he would improve and develop into a better horse, but I never thought he was going to be a 3-time Group 1 winner and most probably our horse of the year.
So 1 Group 1 there, the Champions Mile. Half an hour or so later, you're on victory in the Chairman's Sprint Prize. You hadn't ridden him in a race before, but you had ridden him at the trials. What were your thoughts going in with him?
He trialled well. I was very happy to be on him. Obviously, there was a bit of a shuffling of jockeys during the week, and someone made mention, you know, would I like to switch and get on to Mr. Stunning? And I said, no, I think I'm on the right horse. I'd prefer to be riding the bloke I'm on. You know, pre-race, the speed map looked pretty simple. It looked like Peniophobia was going to lead and lead uncontested, and I was going to just come and sit on his outside. Mr. Stunning was going to be on my back, and that was going to be the race. The Godolphin horse obviously threw a bit of a spanner in the works there, and when he was in such a hurry coming forward into the first corner, I was happy to let him go. He injected just enough speed in the race to allow my bloke to relax in behind them. I got a lovely toe off on the back of them into the straight, and from there it was just a matter of whether my horse was 1 up to that level or 2 had done too much work in the first half mile of the race to be softened up for the runners behind. But he showed that he's a quality horse, and you know, hopefully now that he's going to have a break and get ready for next season, if he could just find another 2 or 3 lengths, he could dominate the spring ranks next season.
250 to go here. You must have been feeling like you're very close to a win.
I was. I felt Mr. Stunning on my hindquarters as I straightened, but I sort of kicked away from him and thought, you know, I'd put him to bed. But with about 150 to go, I felt my horse just start to tire a little bit, and I could sense them coming, and I just kept looking at the winning post thinking, you know, come on, just keep giving me a little bit more, a little bit more. In the last 50, he was really tired. Like I said, it's his first go at that level. It's a different type of intensity, Group 1 racing, and for a young horse like him to handle that type of pressure and produce that performance like he had at his first go, I think it's a credit to the horse, and you know, hopefully he's still got it all before him.
We've had 11 Group 1s here in Hong Kong this season. You've won 5 of them. That's some achievement. Yeah,
it's not too bad, but it just means there's 6 I haven't won.
You didn't ride in one of them though, but still, how do you put yourself in the position where you've been able to win those races and at a constant level all throughout the season?
It's just a case of getting on the right horses, especially at the right time when they're in form. Fortunately, that's happened for me. It's not going to happen every season, but hopefully it keeps happening more often than not.
The big talking point as well right throughout the season has been the premiership. When Joe Moreira first came here, you beat him. He's had the edge over you the last few seasons. It's only 8 between you now though. Can you win it?
I think it's going to be close. You know, obviously I can't ride as light as Joe rides, and, you know, 2 of his last 4 winners have been at lightweights of 115 or 113, which, you know, makes it difficult for me in that sense, and he's got the backing of John Size, our champion trainer. He's having another fantastic season. So I think the odds are against me a little bit, but I feel like things are going well for me at the moment. Momentum can be a huge thing. I just think the 8-win buffer might just be a bit too much of a mountain to climb. But let's see what happens. You never know. It is racing, and anything can happen.
There are the stats on screen, as you say. 8 between you and Joe. You actually lead Joe on prize money. Going through the last few seasons, though, Joe beat you 3 seasons by 50 wins, 88 wins the next season, 63 last season. There's the gap there. 8. What's changed?
Well, 2 seasons ago, I missed the start of the season through injury, and then the following season, I missed the start of the season through injury again, and it just allowed him to springboard off and get a run on me. And once you get rolling here and you get a bit of momentum behind you and the owners get behind you, you know, you really can put a number of wins together quite quickly. And when all the best chances are just going to one jockey and not being spread around, sometimes the numbers can be a little bit distorted. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Joe. He's a fantastic jockey and he's basically kicked my ass the last few seasons. But this season, I started the season a lot healthier and a lot fitter. And although he got a good start to the season, I had a pretty poor start to the season. I think a few of the owners and a couple of the trainers have dropped off Joe, and they seem to be spreading the rides around a little bit more evenly these days, and it's just giving me more opportunities, and I think that's been the biggest difference this season. At the end of the day, it comes down to the horses you're riding, and if I can get on the right horses, I can make it competitive.
Is there a rivalry between the 2 of you?
Listen, there's a rivalry between every jockey. You know, when you're out on the track, it's a law of the jungle, it's every man for themselves. We're all out there to win, we're not out there to run second. So there's obviously a battle going on between us, but off the track, and more so in the jockey's room, we get along quite well. Joe sits next to me at Sha Tin, so there's a bit of banter back and forwards all day, which I'd like to think I win the banter. But he is obviously winning more races on the track. But, you know, he's a good fella. I've enjoyed the battle that we've had. I've learned a lot off Joe. I think my riding has improved since he has arrived, and some of the things I've picked up on him. So that's a positive, and it's something I'm appreciative of. And, you know, let's just see what happens.
Let's see what happens on Sunday as well too, because you ride Exultant in the Group 3, the Queen Mother Memorial Cup, which is our feature race, and it comes up quite early in the card too. It's race number 4, one of only 3 2,400 metre races for the season here in Hong Kong. The defending champion is Eagle Way, has got the top weight of 133 pounds. Zac rides Exultant. Prawn Barbar's coming off a last start win where he beat Exultant and Doyeni. Over the page to Haparad Baby, Savvy 6th place in the German Derby prior to coming out here, and Rickfield and Goldfield are down the bottom. So only 8 of them. Zac, the last time you rode Exultant was in the Derby. Let's have a look at that performance. He came wide on that occasion with your run. Is he now looking for the 2,400 metres?
I think he's been looking for it all season. When I won on him over 2,000 metres back in December, I think it was, he was explosive that day. He showed me a really good turn of foot, but since then he's been very dour and very one-paced. And our plan this day was to ride him how I rode him. Tony didn't want me going inside any horses. I just had to try and keep his momentum going and come down the outside. You know, unfortunately, you cover a little bit of ground when you're doing that, but because he's so dour, he didn't want to be stopping and starting on him and taking runs that maybe tightening up or having to change course and things like that. It was just a matter of getting that sweeping run going on him and letting him hit the line. You know, Ping Eye Star is obviously a very good horse and out-sprinted us on the day, but I must say I have been a little bit disappointed with Exultant. I thought he would, you know, he still could develop into a better horse next season. He's had a very tough season, a very tough preparation, and he may just be looking for a little bit of a break after a race like this, but he has been a little bit disappointing. He's just not attacking the line as strongly as he was when I won on him. But he gets his chance this time over 2,400, a smaller field. You know, it looks as if he's going to stay. But, you know, for me, this is D-Day for him. He's got to come out and show us that he's ready to be able to do it.
You mentioned the small field as well. Speed-wise, he's a horse who can pull. Does that concern you?
He's got a lot better. His last two starts have shown that he's learnt to drop the bit. He's not straightforward. He still does get on the bit and gets his head on the side and tries to bite the bit a little bit. So you've got to manage him as well as being able to ride the race. But I feel he's much more controllable these days, and therefore you can ride a bit more of a race on him. You know, it's a bit of a tricky draw for a horse like him on the weekend, so you're probably just going to have to switch him off. Hope that the speed is okay, and if the speed is even, he gets his chance.
He's your ride in the feature, but overall you've got 10 rides on an 11-race card. Let's have a look at them here. Busy day, 12:30 we get things underway. Quadruple doubles you ride in the open of the Griffin race. Couple of class droppers in the show and Pearl Warm. Montreal's an interesting one, having his first run in Hong Kong. Who are the ones you go into Sunday most confident about?
I think I've got an even book of rides. I don't have anything there I think that stands out. I've got horses that can run competitive races. They're just going to need the right tempo to suit, and we'll see how they go. But you know, hopefully there's 6 winners amongst them, but I doubt it.
Win Beauty Win's an interesting one, the Griffin Trophy winner. He looks like quite a nice progressive horse.
He's done a good job this season, because last season he felt very dour. He didn't know what he's doing. He's quite dumb in many respects, and we thought that he's probably going to be a 2,000 metre horse. So for him to come out and do what he done first up over 1,200 metres and sprint like he did, I know he had the race run to suit. They went really, really hard and set it up for a back marker, but he still had to do it. Suggests that either he's better than what we thought he was, or he may not be a 2,000 metre horse.
Okay. Appreciate you coming on the show. Terrific for your insight. Thanks for being here, Zac.
No worries. Anytime.
Zac Purton, our special guest on HK Direct this week. We're about to wrap things up. Let's recap what's coming up on Sunday at Sha Tin. Trackside live coverage of the 11-race card starts at 12 o'clock, while the feature is the Queen Mother Memorial Cup at 2 o'clock. For more information, go to the website hkjc.com. You'll be able to catch Racing to Win there on Saturday night. And also check out social media at hkjc_racing. That's it for this edition of HK Direct. Thanks for your company. Before we leave you, we're going to finish up with Masterclass. It's been a month full of highlights. Zac Purton, one of them with his 2 winners on Champions Day. He was one of the heroes that day. The equine hero was Pakistan Star.
8 of them to do battle. Set, ready, they're off and racing in the QE2 Cup, and Pakistan Star, one of the first to hit the ground. Pakistan Star is charging through. Then Alain and Eagle Way. Pakistan Star hit the lead at the furlong. Race clear. Round